Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. This is currently being filmed on my phone. I'm planning on doing a series called Tea Talk, where I just talk about different topics on my channel and things that's kind of pressing, or like things that's going on in my life or going on in the world or such like that, and hopefully have other people join and chime in on how they feel about the subject and stuff like that, because I want this to be more than a makeup channel, but a safe space, sort of, and a place open to conversation. But I don't have time to sit around and sip tea right now. But I just want to tell you guys the concept of Tea Talk. I'm pretty sure other people probably do this already, but I was really inspired by, excuse me, Grace F. Victory. I think that's her name now. It used to be Ugly Face of Beauty, but I think she goes by her real name now. And she does a lot of body positive videos and mental health videos and sexuality videos and things like that, even though her channel's focus, I don't think it's her channel's focus anymore, but it once was fashion and beauty. But she chose to turn in a direction that talked about more pressing subjects, and I was kind of inspired by that. So I'm not gonna completely steal her idea, but I was really inspired by that because a lot is going on in the world right now. But for the format of my tea talks, they'll be unedited. They'll probably be very long. I'll probably just go live on YouTube on my computer and maybe do a Facebook Live with it too, so it could reach a broader audience. I'm not sure yet. But it'll be live, it'll be unedited, and just free talking flow about whatever the subject may be. But right now I don't have time, as I said, to sit around. To sit around and sip tea. I'm trying to get ready to go somewhere. So this is kind of a get ready with me chat sort of situation, unintentionally. And I didn't even brush out my eyebrows. And I knew like what I wanted to talk about, is why I started to set up and film. But I started talking and kind of lost my train of thought. Hopefully my phone has enough space for this whole situation. I'm trying to make this quick anyway. Maybe this could be like a get to know me situation. Who am I? What am I here to do? Okay, let's start with that. Well, my name's Naisha, last name Palmer. I don't think that really matters. I mean, not that it doesn't matter, but like, most people who watch my videos at this point are family and friends. They know what my name is. I'm really into beauty and fashion, but my focus, what I'm most passionate about, is makeup. I have a dog that never stops barking. He thinks he owns the property and nobody can pass by. I wish this was like a live Q&A, so if like you guys had any questions, because I really don't know what to say about myself. Right now I'm working on building up my channel. I finally got everything I need for my setup. I have a backdrop, I have all the lighting I need, the makeup, the brushes. I have a solid set of brushes now, so I can do more looks. I can film them properly. His name's Marvin. I've had him for probably like 5 or 6 years now. I got him my sophomore year in high school. My dad got him for me, actually. And I'm not about to start crying about that because I'm putting makeup on. Another thing about me, I'm very emotional. I don't know why I'm talking like this, but it's very annoying. Okay, so back to the idea of tea talks. If we have subjects that are very personal to me or that I've been affected by, since they're unedited, since I decided they're gonna be unedited and the truth, you guys probably see me cry a lot because I do that very often. I always mess up this brow. My brows are always going to be distant relatives, never sisters or twins. But I clean them up with concealer after so they don't look as crazy. But they're always struggling. And my left side is my dominant side, so this should be my good brow. Because for my right side, I always have to hold the brush very awkwardly to like even be able to hold it. And yet that side always comes out better. Oh, I remember what I wanted to talk about now. When I think about certain things, I kind of shut down and don't even know how to bring up the subject. So, like, it was heavy on my mind earlier while I was flat ironing 30 inches of hair. So, you know, that took forever. And those thoughts are kind of gone now because it took me a while to flat iron all this hair. I have it tucked back so you can't really see, but it's long. I'm probably going to cut it since it's about to get hot out. Some of y'all don't like cutting long hair, I don't know. If I'm hot, I can't have all this hair. It was cute for a while, but it gotta go. I had a phone call that kind of just, I forgot about that. Phone calls from bill collectors. I'm gonna probably interrupt these videos quite often. Let's speak about bill collectors. I have always been financially savvy my entire life, like since childhood. Like my mom would give me $5. That $5 would stretch. Like I'd stretch the hell out of it. And I'll save up. Let's say I get $5 for a week. I buy my snacks or whatever that she gave it to me the $5 for quite cautiously. And by the next week, when I have another $5, I probably still have $4 from the other week. Like we don't need to talk about all of that. But like I've always been financially savvy. I've always saved my money. I was always very not frugal, because I did get things I wanted and needed, but I always knew how to make smart money decisions. I knew about interest and savings and all the things a lot of us don't learn until adulthood, and then we're like, what the hell is a savings? What is interest on a credit card? Like, there's the certain things some of us don't learn out until adulthood, and I was oddly interested in that kind of stuff as a child. I wanted to work in finance because the field of finance was my idea of what a powerful woman was. And I wanted to wear a business suit and work in finance and just know everything about everything as far as money was concerned. But then our good old friend depression happened. Something you never expect to get hit by. I know some people suffer with depression their whole lives. But I've known what it meant to be unhappy or mad or sad. But I never experienced what depression was until last year. Like, I knew what it meant to feel upset and hurt. But that's not what depression is. Don't get it twisted. It really bugs me when people say, well, I feel sad sometimes too. When I get angry sometimes too. Honey. Oh, honey. If you've experienced depression, you know that's not what it is. It's not feeling sad sometimes. It's not going into an angry rage because something seriously unfortunate happened, like somebody slashed your tire and you have to get to work in 10 minutes. That's just you're angry. With depression, you have no thoughts. You have no thoughts. You have no control over your thoughts, over your actions. You have no concept of time. So, well, personally, me, I had no concept of what time was. I'm taking forever just to do some eyebrows. And my camera just cut off again. But I had no concept what time was. I first started feeling depressed last March. Maybe a little before then. And you may have noticed that's when I started making YouTube videos more regularly. I posted maybe like 3 or 4 videos back to back. Because I realized the best way to overcome that depression is keeping yourself occupied by something you enjoy. Not something that others want you to do, but something that you enjoy personally. It won't help. And this whole point was about to be about why bill collectors are calling me, and it was a perfect transition for another topic, but let me finish this thought. Oh, what time is it? That was about to be a good transition for another subject I want to touch, but basically, I got myself into a shitload of debt because I chose a stupid way to get over how I was feeling, and that was spending money I didn't have. Like, as I said, I was very financially savvy. I was able to build credit very quickly, so I got accepted for a lot of credit cards. And I never used them up until there was only one credit card I really used, and that was just to build credit. It was a Discover card. I was very financially set with that. I had other cards. I never used them. Or when I used them, I would put the money back immediately, which was not very frequently. But last July, it sucks that I don't even know the date. I told you my concept of time is shot, but pretty much a year ago, coming, because summer will be here for know it. Last summer, my dad and brother passed away, and that just took a great toll on me. Like, I already realized what depression felt like starting in March when I got into it with my best friend, and I never thought that something like that would hurt me as much as it did, but it did. Like, we weren't talking anymore, and that was like the only person who I really felt like I could talk to and enjoyed being around. And losing her hurt a lot. And so I would like cry to school every day, but at that point, school was all I had. And I'm like, hey, you have no social life, you have no friends, but at least you have great grades. So for a while, I wouldn't, like for a week, I couldn't go to my classes. Like, I just couldn't. But then I realized school was all I had, so I kept going. Even to math that I knew I was failing, but I tried my hardest. That was the only class that I struggled with. But everything else, I had amazing grades, and that kept me feeling good about myself for a while. And then my friend and I started talking again. But, kind of like, after you, well, I don't smoke, but after you smoke, you're not high anymore after a while, but you still have the traces of the drug in you. And if you take a drug test, they'll know you smoked before. It's kind of like how depression is. You might feel good after a while. Things get better, but traces of that depression stays left in you. So my friend and I started talking again in about May or April. No, it was May, because it was right around my birthday. I started to feel a little better about things. We ended up visiting each other because we live in different states. Things were going great. I was planning... Okay, things weren't going great. Here's what happened after that. Oh, excuse me. The school year ended, and I was not able to completely... We didn't even talk about school. School is going to be a whole different story, but basically I couldn't continue my enrollment in college until I paid off a good percentage of my tuition, because I didn't get many loans or anything like that. So most of my tuition was supposed to be paid out of pocket. And I was searching for jobs and stuff and just wasn't finding any. And after the school year, after finals and everything, I got back on my test. I did great. When it came time to make schedules for the next semester, I couldn't continue on because I had outstanding debts. So I decided that I would move to North Carolina because my best friend lived there. Well, actually, I made this decision before we started talking again, but anyway, I decided I would move to North Carolina because, one, my best friend lived there, my family lived there. I don't have any family in New York. All my family is either North Carolina or Belize. And I really just wanted to be closer to my dad and my friend, because besides my mom and my dog, I have nobody here in New York. And I thought I can. I had applied to a few jobs there. Well, I had applied to a few jobs, not as much as I did in New York. I applied to hundreds of jobs in New York, but I applied to a couple jobs in North Carolina and got called back for all of them, except Nordstrom, which we'll talk about this department store jobs anyway. I probably wouldn't have liked Nordstrom. Well, no, Nordstrom is kind of different than where I worked, so maybe I would have. But all the jobs I applied to in Durham, North Carolina, I got called back to. So I decided I was gonna move there. I'd be closer to my friend. I'd be closer to my family, my dad, and we'd be able to build up a relationship. And so in June, oh wait, let me finish. It's so hard to keep track of my thoughts. Oh my goodness. So with school and everything, one of my points was, I want to be closer to my friend and my family. But the other thing was I could probably go and get all my credits I needed for like English and math there. Then when I come back to the school I wanted to go to, I would only have to get my major credits. I could get all my, what is that called? You know, the regular classes that's not that interesting besides your major. I can't think of the word right now and I feel really dumb about it. But I thought to myself I could go to a school in North Carolina to either just get on my major classes, or I could even go to another fashion school like I was going to here. That school didn't really work out. But I did go to visit a school in North Carolina and that was like a fashion school. It wasn't that. I wouldn't have been able to transfer any of my credits or anything, so that wouldn't have worked out. But also on top of, okay, like this needs to be like a full length sit down because there was a lot going on all at a time. My neighborhood was getting gentrified, so my mother and I had to move, and we weren't finding anything. I couldn't continue college because I had no money. It was starting to get to me that I didn't have any family or friends here in New York. It was hard to find a job here. Cost of living is very expensive. So North Carolina seemed like an amazing idea. I had already got accepted to plenty of jobs. It was just waiting for me to just, live there. Because obviously I was applying while living in another state. So I went in June, looked at a couple apartments, found one I really liked. However, I was a couple dollars short to put a down payment on anything. On top of that, I didn't get, my credit score wasn't great until July because I had just started. I got my first credit card, I think May. By July I had great credit. But wait, no, I'm lying, not May. I got my credit cards in February. I got my first credit card in February. By July my credit was great. So if I had waited one more month, I could have got the apartment without anybody signing for me. But I was I was a little short on making a down payment, plus I needed somebody to sign for me. I didn't know who would do that for me. I don't know why my dad didn't cross my mind, because every day I think to myself, how different things could have been if I just decide to get an apartment with him. My entire life and emotional state would probably be different right now. But yeah, I guess something that would be important to the story is at that point, I hadn't seen my dad since March, and now I was back in North Carolina in June, and I didn't get to see him. Um, and back in March, when that first wave of depression hit, is around the time I started getting closer to my dad, which kind of helped with the whole idea of me wanting to move there in the first place and be closer to him. Because he had moved away from New York probably 3 years prior. Man, I cannot talk and do brows. I'm jacking this up. But so I went to North Carolina in June, looked at apartments, applied to some jobs, looked at a school. By that point, it was kind of too late to apply to schools, except the one art fashion school. And that wasn't just going to work for my needs because I knew I eventually wanted to come back to New York and go to my school I originally started going to. So, and with that school in North Carolina, I would have had to stay there, or I would just be wasting money because my credits couldn't transfer back to the school I was originally at, and I couldn't transfer my credits from here to there. So it would have just been a big waste of money, honestly. So I came back to New York a couple months later. Not a couple months, but a month later, my dad and brother passed away. And it's still hard to believe to this day. Like, I told myself, oh my gosh, I'll be in North Carolina. I'm moving to North Carolina. Nobody can tell me nothing. I'll be closer to my dad. My brother's visiting for the summer. Him and my friends' brothers could hang out. They could probably be best friends. We're best friends, blah, 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 blah. And then I get the call. They just drowned in a motel pool. And I just have not been the same since that day. Oh, excuse me. And basically from that point forward, I tried to mask how I was feeling with spending money carelessly. And we all know that's an awful idea. I think, like, I wasn't seeing eye to eye with my family. I wasn't seeing eye to eye with my friend again. All I had were those credit cards and online shopping was my friend. And I managed to keep them under control up until this January. And then everything just went downhill from there, and I kept realizing, oh, now I'm months behind. And shortly after, debt collectors have been on my butt ever since. But Fast forward to like October, I found a job, so I was able to pay off those things, but then I quit in December. So those bills kept adding up again, and I'm here where I am now as far as debt goes. But that previous segue that I was gonna make, I think was, I completely forgot, but I think it was occupying your time with things you enjoy and not things that somebody else wants you to do. I don't know, but basically I don't remember what the topic was that I was when I wanted to segue to this, but basically after that whole thing, I know me finding a job was pretty important to my dad, so around October, I was finally able to get a job. Not the most exciting thing, but I was happy to finally get something. Like with him gone, the whole idea to moving to North Carolina just wasn't plausible at that point because I wasn't in a place to live alone anymore. I wasn't in a mental state in where I could live by myself. So I started working at Macy's, the department store. Everybody knows what that is. And it was okay for a while. But then for a while I just felt sadness. Like you lost your father, you lost your brother, you're mourning. But then depression came back. I told you guys what the different ones before. And I know a lot of people think, oh, you're just sad. You need to get over it. People die all the time. I was not just sad. I was not just mourning. At this point, it's almost at this point it's almost 4 or 5 months after they passed away. I started working in October. My dad's birthday was in November, would have been in November. And around that time, everything started going downhill. I started hating the job, but not because of having to work, but because I didn't feel valued as an employee, and that was the last thing I needed at that point, is to feel undervalued. And then it eventually got to a point where I would just be crying at work and not even realize it. And I know my mom and friends or whatever think the job sucked. You hated it. And that was it. Like, you quit. No. I was crying at work every day and still trying to be productive. Oh, excuse me. I was still trying my best to get work done, but it got to a point where I was really taking like 30-minute cry breaks besides my hour lunch and 30-minute break. Like, it would take 30 minutes to go in the bathroom and just cry. I would be crying in front of customers while folding shirts. I would be crying in the stock room going to get stuff. And that's just not a healthy position to be in your life. Like, and then when I really realized, like, I'm not in a place where I can do this job, is I was working in Manhattan. I now live in basically Canarsie. So you guys know that's a journey. Like, it took me forever. It took me like 2 hours to get to and from Macy's every single day. So I had 2 hours to just be crying on public transit. And it got worse when I started to have the urge to just like end it all. Like, every time, like, if you see a juicy chicken leg and you're like, oh my god, I need it. When I got in the train station and saw the train tracks, like, I felt like that kind of craving, like, to just jump in the tracks. And nobody should ever feel that way. And that's what I realized. I shouldn't be doing this. It's not that I hate this job. It's not that I'm sad and I cry all the time, but taking this journey is really a danger to my life at this point, because you never know when one day I'm feeling a little more carefree than usual and I just do it. And honestly, the main fear that kept me from doing it is, like, I'm a heavy-set person. Like, I'm not small. If I jump in them train tracks and I just get cut up, I'm gonna be embarrassed, because New Yorkers will cuss you out even if you're injured if you make them late to where they gotta go. I'm not no small little feeble person, so it's highly likely if I jump in those train tracks, I'm not dying. And I don't laugh about it, but it's like, that was a pretty dark place to even be, and a very morbid thought to even have. But that's just how I felt. And it was hard to discuss that with anyone at the time. But that's the main reason why I had to stop working. And I feel like most people just think, oh, she's lazy and she doesn't want to work. And if that was the case, I would gladly accept it. But that's not the case. Like, it was a matter of, do I want to keep this a retail job? Or do I want my life, you know? So it's kind of hard. It's kind of feel like a letdown, because I basically worked for 3 months, 2-3 months. And every now and then there'd be people who would be like, you need to get out and work, or make me feel like I'm just not doing something because with my life because I don't want to do something. But those waves of depression never go away. They keep coming. Like, once you're depressed, it'll be in you. It's like cancer. Cancer goes into remission, but you always had cancer and you always have the chance of getting cancer again. That's just how depression is. And I don't think many people understand that, because people want to tell me about when they lost their parents and when they lost their children or their sibling or their friends or whatever the case may be, to like try to prove they've been through my situation. It's not the same. It's really not the same thing. I was at a point, my situation is where things didn't happen over time. My life came crashing down all at once. Like, I got hit by everything back to back to fucking back. That was my life. But people don't seem to understand that. And trust me, if I could just put that all behind me, just get a job and just go to school, then trust me, I would. I wouldn't be sitting here moping all the time. But it's really not that easy. Especially when you don't have any kind of support system or people who acknowledge that before anything else. This is just how I feel, and I feel like how a lot of millennials at this point, your mental health comes before anything else. Like, fuck a job, fuck anybody else's feelings, fuck school, if you're not in a place to deal with all of that. And that's just basically how I feel at this point. I'm like, if it doesn't make me happy, then I don't want to do it. So basically, I've been focusing on trying to get this YouTube channel together. Yo, let me go wipe my nose, because I know I'm probably disgusting you guys. I mean, I'm just at a place where my mental health is a priority before everything else. So I've been focusing on this YouTube channel because I know, one, it's something that will make me happy because I've been wanting to do it for years. And two, this is something I can do at home. Like, if I'm crying, nobody gonna see me. So, win-win. But eventually, I do have to and want to get a job, because YouTube's not gonna pay the bills. Even if my channel does take off, it won't for a while. But I want to get a job that's fulfilling to me, that makes living each day a little more easier to bear. And with this YouTube channel and the makeup looks I've been doing, that's not, like, I don't take makeup as a way to, oh my gosh, I look so pretty. Like, some of my makeup looks are fucking gross, and I love it. Like, I'm not here to try to look cute. It's an art to me. It's kind of therapy for me. When I sit down, I'm focused on what look I'm trying to achieve. I'm not thinking about how hurt I am or who's hurting me or how much life sucks. When I'm sitting down doing makeup, all I'm thinking about is the makeup. So I feel like I really have to get a job in this field, in like Sephora or MAC or something like of the sort, Ulta. It really doesn't matter, where I can be surrounded by something that basically makes me forget my problems. Like, I rather be someone who visits Sephora every day manically than someone who turns to drugs or who turns to unsafe sex or someone who is violent, because that's how some people take out their problems. And I decided to take out mine in a more artistic approach that does no harm to myself or anyone else. And though nobody realizes that what it is, I applaud myself for that, because I can be out there being a danger to my life and others, but I'm here just creating. And I applaud myself for that. Like, I don't need a pat on the back, but I applaud myself for that. Like, even to this day, I still try to take the trains as infrequently as possible. I feel more safer on a bus. Though I still, anytime traveling alone, I often do still just cry for no reason. And I really don't have an explanation as to why when it's specifically traveling. But at least, I don't know, I totally lost my train of thought anyway. I always forget what my point was. What the heck is wrong with me? I don't know why I'm taking my slow, sweet time when I know I wanted to leave the house at like 12:45. But let me try to hurry this process up. I'm gonna get this moisturized. And basically, that's just the headspace I'm in right now. I'm trying to focus on branding myself basically in social media. Basically showing what I'm all about and trying to build myself up to a point in where I can do more and where I can achieve things I want to achieve. But I respect that it's going to be a slow and steady process. I feel for so long I've been putting my feelings to the side and building other people up. But I acknowledge that I'm still not okay. Like, I'm still hurt, and I still have so much growing to do and so much to get over. And if that's okay, I can take my time. But I do have to ensure that I do something to where my life does go on. I kind of lost track of what more I wanted to say. And we only really achieved eyes so far. I don't know if I should continue with the rest of the look. Foundation stick would be quicker since I'm in a rush. But I'm really in a liquid kind of mood today, so. So I just mixed the YSL foundation to Cheek Clot, which is pretty much done at this point. It's a shade that's too light for me. It matched me like a couple years ago. I probably should throw it out, but it was expensive, so we're finishing it. Um, I just mixed that with the L'Oreal True Match Lumi, which is much darker than me. Well, not much darker, but it's quite darker than me. And I just mixed that with this Real Techniques brush. And it's okay if you put a lot more of the darker shade than the lighter shade, because I noticed the Touche Eclat, even though the formula is very similar to the True Match Lumi, the pigmentation is a lot, basically the Touche Eclat is a lot more pigmented than the True Match is. So I know what I was saying today was very all over the place, and I'll probably go in detail on certain things on a smaller scale so that like these tea talks have a point and I'm not just rambling about nothing and just crying the entire time. But that's sort of a taste of what tea talks are going to be like. Not just my life. I will touch on just pressing situations. Like mental health, for example. There's no reason why all my friends are depressed. Like, we need to figure out what's going on and get to the bottom of things. I feel like older generations don't quite understand. I don't know, like, there's no way an entire generation of people didn't have problems, but they deal with their situations a lot more differently than we do. And why is that? Why are older people, especially in the Black community, not okay with accepting that their kids are going through stuff? Kids get depressed, kids have struggles, and as a parent, all they want is for you to be there for them, but you just invalidate their feelings. Like, with that subject, there's so much to go off of. There's kids that are depressed who aren't doing anything. There's kids that are depressed who have amazing households. There are kids and teens that are depressed at all ages. There are 8-year-olds out here killing themselves because life is hard for them, and why does nobody want to understand why? There shouldn't be babies. Like, I keep seeing babies wanting to end their own lives, and that shit is heartbreaking. Like, at 8 years old, I had no worries, and I'm happy for that. Like, my life was not perfect. I wasn't rich. I didn't get everything I wanted. My parents were divorced, but I still had a fulfilling childhood. I wasn't popular. I got teased at school all the time for my weight and for my acne and for the fact that my neck was darker than my face, and it still bothers people to this day. I wasn't light skinned. I didn't have long hair. I wasn't the ideal body shape, and kids brought that up in freaking first grade. First graders discuss those kind of things, and not once at that age did I think to myself, yeah, this shit right here is rough. I want to die. Never crossed my mind at that age. And now there's babies out here taking their own lives. Like, how do we even achieve that? Because even at my age now, I'm still like, okay, so what do I do? How does this work? How am I gonna achieve this? Like, and then I'm like, do I really want to sit here and strategize a way to die? No. If it takes all this planning and trial and error, then I don't need to do it. And maybe that's just me being lazy. But who wants to like, if you already feel like a failure at life, you don't want to be a failure at death too. Like, if you, I can't be the only one who've ever thought that. Like, even Lil Wayne, if you listen to the song Mad by Solange, so now I definitely know I don't feel this way, because even Lil Wayne feels this way. The song Mad by Solange, where he said, and when he attempted suicide, he didn't die. He remembered how mad he was on that day. Whenever he was embarrassed about it. That would be freaking embarrassing. Like, you try to die and you don't. You're like, shit, I fail at life. And I'm here failing at death too. Like, wow, look at me, just feeling it up. But there's just the fact that there's little kids who can't take life anymore really hurts me, and I want to have part in opening up that conversation, because it needs to be talked about. People shouldn't feel like they have to hide their feelings, especially men and Black women who feel the need to be strong-willed, and triumphant at all times. Like, no. Get the help you need. Talk to somebody about it. Acknowledge your feelings and what you need to do to change them, because you're only human. And if everybody else can acknowledge that they're hurting, so can you. No. I just think mental health is a very important conversation to have, because it's 2017 and it's still taboo amongst the majority. As well as things like sexuality and the new thing everybody keeps talking, well, not new, but the feminization of men. Like, let your boys do what they want to do. If your son wants to take ballet because he doesn't like sweating in the sun and playing football, then let your son take ballet. That doesn't mean he's gay. He probably will get more girls than the dudes playing basketball, football. You know why? Because he knows how to move. And that'll come in handy when he's a bit older. He'll understand his body in a way those boys don't. They're fast. And you know how unsatisfied you are with fast men, aren't you? So let your sons do what they want to do. And if they're gay, what's the problem with that? This is a lot up for discussion. And I don't know, I just want to talk about it. Have a little chat. I'm about to go wet my beauty blenders. Well, these look still kind of damp. I'm gonna go wet them so I can blend out my concealer, and I'll be right back. And I really want people to feel free to chime in other topics you think should be discussed, because I'm sure there's plenty more of them. definitely gentrification is a pressing subject. Is there much we can do about it? I don't know. But it doesn't hurt to talk about it. Also, I do want to get back to being financially savvy. And I could have a discussion about that. Teach people how not to make the mistakes I did, and if there's something you're going through that brought on these urge to spend, find something like I found a little too late. And actually, I didn't even tell you what really brought me back to reality and realized I freaking love makeup. And this is what I should be channeling my energy into. It's actually one of the most unlikely things. It actually was watching RuPaul's Drag Race. And how I found Drag Race, or rediscovered, because I used to watch that when I was like 8, maybe 10. How many years has it been on? 10, 8 years? I don't know. I started watching Drag Race on season 2, back when it was on Logo. Why was I even watching Logo? I don't really know. But no, I had cable back then. I haven't had cable in years, but back then I had cable. Was nothing to watch. I stumbled upon Logo. I used to watch RuPaul's Drag Race. At that age, it didn't even dawn on me that these were gay men, but I just saw them as entertainers. So basically, ran out of things to watch on YouTube. Somehow I ended on the James St. James transformations, which led me to remember, oh, these are the people from RuPaul's Drag Race. I used to love that show. So I went back, I started watching on season 5 because, no, I'm lying. I didn't start season 5. I started at, what's the season with Violet Chachki? 7? Yeah, I started watching at season 7. Fell in love with Trixie. And then I started watching then I went backtrack from 7, went to season 5. Fell in love with Alaska. Then I saw season 6, fell in love with Bianca. And because of Alaska's story, after binge watching all 3 seasons, 5, 6, and 7, I was able to get a Fire Stick, and I watched season 4 because I did see season 4 back when I was younger, but when I was younger, I only watched for the big queens. So my favorites back then, well, Jujubee wasn't really big, but I liked Jujubee, I liked Jiggly Caliente, I liked Latrice Royale. Like, whoever was the big girl of the season is who I wanted to win. So when I saw season 4, I only really paid attention to Latrice. I didn't realize Sharon Needles won. But after Alaska's entire storyline in season 5 and watching her YouTube videos and Alaska that she had on the Wild Presents Network, I think she was the transformation on James St. James that really struck my interest, actually, because like in the thumbnail she's like in the camera like this, and I just thought it was so adorable. Doesn't make much sense, no, but I don't know. And I think something with watching I think how I got to Wow Presents in the James St. James transformations was from watching Shane Dawson videos. Cause I don't know, he came out as bi a couple years ago, and YouTube got some backlash, and they just grouped all the LGBTQ stuff together. I don't even know if Shane Dawson is considered that, but like I don't know if his channel is even, you know. But so yeah, basically I rediscovered my love for makeup through drag. And actually, I'd love to have my hand in doing drag someday, actually, because you know those stories of how, you know, like the stories almost all the queens have of, as a kid they would play in their mom's shoes and they would like lip sync and stuff. I related to those little gay boy stories on such a spiritual level. When I was a kid, I would clunk around in my mom's heels. I would dress up, and most girls just play dress up. They have a tea party. Like, no, I would get my mom was a babysitter, so house was always full of kids, and I would dress them up with me. We would choose a song, and we would lip sync for our lives, honey. Like, if I knew drag was a thing, I've been a drag queen since freaking 2002. Because my voice wasn't made for the stage, but I've always wanted to be I don't know, I've always wanted to entertain in a way. And I realized what I like to do is that was exact what I liked to do as a kid was pretty much drag. Like, I would dress up. I couldn't do makeup to save my life, but I had like lip gloss and like terribly pigmented little glittery like gel things that you put on your eye. I don't know, that was not eyeshadow, but you know, like if you ever went to like Cookies or like a children's store, like kid makeup. And my song choices, you would have swore I was broken at 8. But I really loved Christina Aguilera, Beyonce, Destiny Childs, Britney Spears. I had like this Pop Queen album. It had like a mixture of like those artists. I really enjoy the Spice Girls. Like, I'm a queen, honey. Like, I think it had some Madonna on there. Like, it was this really weird mixtape, like a mix of female early 90s, I'm 90s, early 2000s female artists that I'm sure all little gay boys of my time must have got their mom to buy too. And like, we had this entertainment center that had all my dad's music, and even after he left, like, we still had the other entertainment center with the CDs and stuff, because he only took like a few when he left. So like, I had my own little section, and it was like the best thing in the world, because I had my little Beyonce album, my little Alicia Keys and Ashanti, and I had this little section to myself, and it just, I don't know, it was like the cutest thing. It took too long to blend this forehead contour. I went lighter with my makeup today because for the most part I've been wearing Krylon TV paint stick. And I just feel so strange. Like, this is how I used to do my makeup all the time. I'm not gonna put on any lashes today, but I've gotten so used to wearing drag, full guiche, full beat kind of makeup. But it's good to go back to what I'm used to too. I don't know, watching Drag Race, I kind of just fell in love with drag culture. And not just their makeup, like the whole thing. Like, I identify with so many queens on a level that's quite weird for a, I don't know, like someone in my position to feel. Like, I've literally, and it comes like to this whole thing of like gender being a construct, and like we just are what we are, because I feel like a boy that wants to be a girl that's already in a girl's body, so like I'm already a girl, but like, I don't know, I just like the whole idea of dress up and drag, and I don't know, I wish I could be a drag queen. It'll probably be more fulfilling than any other job that I could possibly get. Cause like as a baby, I dressed pretty gender neutral. Not by choice, but like, it's not like mom, I want to wear khakis and J's. Like, no. My favorite color was just always blue. I wore a lot of blue. I wore a lot of green. From what I know, my dad bought me a lot of Jordans, but I don't think I ever got Jordans after he left, because my mom didn't play that kind of expensive stuff. Like, we went to Payless and Bobby's. Like, what do you need? What's a Jordan? She made sure food was on the table and clothes was on my back, and I had toys. I didn't need the fancy stuff, and the concept of having expensive things wasn't even a thing to me. Like, I just want to feel cute. Like, if you could say, hey, do you want these Jordans or do you want these light up Skechers, I would probably choose the light up Skechers. Not even real Skechers. I had these light up shoes. They weren't even the Skechers ones. They were like, I don't know where we even got them, but they were like Dragon Tails light up shoes, and they only fit me for about a month because I know my feet grew pretty fast, and I decided I wanted light up shoes pretty late in life as far as being a toddler is concerned. So where light up shoes only go up to a certain size, and once I got into kid sizing, I couldn't wear light up toddler shoes anymore. And that's the kind of thing I was sad about. Like, not like these babies who's having their parents call them gay at like in kindergarten. Kids shouldn't be going through that. They should be mad because they don't have light up shoes. Like, that's your issues. Because that was my problem. Like, Mom, I want light up shoes. Like, are you really just gonna let me be uncool and just wear shoes that's one color? Another thing, I always enjoyed wearing sandals, even if it wasn't sandal weather. Still do now. Like, there's this picture of me that I don't know if we still have it because we lost most of our photos. That really bummed me out. Every time I think about how we lost most of our pictures, it really hurts my feelings. But there was this picture I had where I had on. It was probably like fall time, and like it looked like the air in the picture looked cold. And I had on an ankle length skirt with some denim sandals on and socks. My fashion choices, as Tatiana would say, choices. Like, choices. Like, I've always been a pretty independent, free-spirited kid. My mom kind of let me wear what I want to wear. And I decided like I would dress like a grandma for some reason. But I don't know, I've never been like a fast kind of kid. One of them little girls who want to show all their goods. But it just reminded me of another topic I'd like to discuss. And it's not sexuality, it's in, am I gay, am I straight, am I pan, am I demisexual, am I bi? Like, no, not that kind of sexuality, but like as a female or anybody, like getting in touch with your inner sexuality, like what makes you feel sexy, what makes you feel beautiful, like take care of that. Like, it shouldn't be a taboo to feel good. I feel like it should be talked about. Like, look at me with this Shea Coulee contour. I should probably put the powder further down, but I don't know. I still have to work on my placement with these, my baking powders and stuff, because it's still a little off. But like once I start sweating and things like that, it all usually works out in the end. But this is my face. I'm gonna just put on some mascara. And I think I'm gonna wear Velvet Teddy. And that'll be, and that's it for today's tea talk. I didn't really have a major point. I talked about a lot. I cried a little bit. Probably said a little more swear words than I have in like the past 10 years. Oh, that's another thing that happened to me. I never used to curse. I never even sticked up my middle finger when I was younger, or even up to last year. Like, I refused to stick up my middle finger, and suddenly I've been cursing a lot. Wonder if anybody else goes through that. Like, after you feel like you've been through the worst, saying freaking fuck, bitch, shit isn't the worst thing you could possibly do. Like, hopefully nobody was offended by that. You know, my mom definitely doesn't appreciate, because sometimes, like, I'll be in the other room. I don't know, sometimes it'll catch me off guard and like a word will slip out. Like if I stub my toe or something, I'll yell it out loud with no regard. And sometimes words just slip, and you know, it's kind of disrespectful to say choice words in front of your parents. Like there's a respect level there. Oh no. It's kind of hard to control. But thank you for joining me. I'm gonna try to run up on out of here because I know I'm late at this point, but hopefully, I don't really think it's like a tea talk. It's like a get ready with me. But I'll talk to you all soon. I don't know why I'm spraying Fix Plus and doing the ending. But like, I'll talk to you guys soon and see you again in another video. That just remind me I might put on some highlighter and bounce. So, see you guys in another video. More tea talks coming, tutorials coming. You can see how ratchet my backdrop looks at this point. You can see all the clips and stuff because I just have my phone up on the table, but trust me, it won't be ratchet. We gonna be professional. Bye.